Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
NIS America sent us over a code for the PS5 version of Ys 9 Monstrum Nox.
Mm-hmm.
So, just some backstory with this. I played Ys 8 randomly on PS Plus last year, and it blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
Had pretty much no experience with the series, but Ys 8 blew me away. So, if you don't know what the Ys series is, and it's been around since like the 80s. It's forever years old, which is so weird to me because it's such a such a background thing where like I feel like nobody knows what this is, but it has been like everywhere for always.
Yeah.
But basically what Ys is it's the chronicles of Adol Christensen as he voyages and adventures across the world, and each game is its own self-contained thing, JRPG elements, but very hack and slash action combat, just to kind of give you an idea here. So the PS5 version, it looks fine. It runs fine. I don't know if it's any different than the PS. It was one of those where it's like, oh yeah, it gives you a whole bunch of DLC costumes. I don't know if there's anything else really done to it. It didn't look like blow your mind, but also, you know, these are not your God of Wars, your Uncharted, your Naughty Dog games. These are not those games. These are very much just cool side things to play with for a little bit.
That was very generous. It's like it's not like God of War graphics. It's like
This is a step down from that. I'm just saying, like, the PS5 version versus the PS4 version, because the PS4 version is on PS Plus.
Yes.
So you can, if you have PS Plus, you can play the PS4 version. PS5 version is not. So just throwing that out there. But anyway, so basically the story of this, it's actually kind of fun because if you kind of know the backstory of Ys, they do a lot in this to kind of poke at like what Ys is. So the general idea of an Ys game is that Adol is adventuring and gets shipwrecked, stranded, or captured and put somewhere for this game, and then the plot commences because they're all disconnected. It's not like you had to play Ys 1 through 8. They're all very disconnected. So what happens is you, of course, end up on this new city. And when you get there, this person arrests you and basically says, I've heard you've done this, this, this. Oh, you've killed like gods. You fought dinosaurs. You did. Sure. You're a big ass liar. Go to jail because I don't know what you've done wrong, but you've clearly done something wrong because this is not how a person can live their life.
That's so good. You kind of explained that to me earlier. I thought that was so funny because you're totally right about like every Ys game having the exact same beginning, getting stuck on like a place, and that's why that's actually why I like it because like you can just pick up literally any Ys game and be just fine. Yeah,
and you're just there, and it does a couple other things as you go through there of like, well, you just adventure all the time. What do you mean you just adventure all the time? Like, and it just kind of pokes fun at like what these games are a little bit, which I think is kind of a good humorous point to kind of start with. So, the game starts with you getting thrown in prison in Balduke, which is this big giant city based around this huge prison that in ancient times, that was 100 years ago, was this huge military fortress. Now it's just this big giant prison. The entire city's kind of works through the prison, is kind of connected to the prison in all these weird ways. And basically you get cursed with the curse of the Monstrum. So what a Monstrum is basically like this alter ego that has superpowers. So there's 6 Monstrums who are basically like superheroes, super villains, depending on which side you are.
Okay.
So like,
are they all prisoners? Are they like?
No. Okay. They're all different things. So they're all just people through the city, and you kind of meet them as you go. But basically, what happens is that these things called the Grimwald Nox. So you're Monstrum, the Grimwald Nox, Monstrum Nox. There's the weird title.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the Grimwald Nox comes, which is like this weird spiritual thing where like the whole thing turns like blood red. You go to this weird different plane of existence, and you have to fight these monsters to basically keep them out from invading the real world. And that's what the curse of the Monstrum is that you have to be the ones that have to go and fight this thing and stop this thing from coming into the city.
That sounds like a little darker than I guess I would be used to with Ys. Is this kind of like we're trying to be like kind of like, is it like a little edgier than the other Ys games? Because it's weird because like it has this. Okay, yeah.
It's I think it's one of those things where describing it sounds much more edgy than it is.
I'm just used to like tropical islands and like very colorful fantasy worlds, not like you're trapped in an alternate dimension. You have to stop a god.
Well, so these are basically you do. Yeah. You do these once per chapter. So there's 8 chapters, 9 chapters because there's 8 in a final chapter. There's 9 chapters. You do it once per chapter. It's kind of like the pivotal moment in the chapters. Like, oh, the Grimwald Nox has shown up, and then you can kind of go from like the chapter intro to what's actually happening in the chapter.
Gotcha.
but yeah, not really dark so much as just, I mean, it is a little dark because the whole thing revolves around this prison, people being captured randomly. There's some very sketchy things going on in the prison, and how that ties into this whole thing is kind of the thing. The story, it's fine. There's some kind of interesting moments with it. The characters are very good, but it's just, it's one of those things where it's like, I kept wanting to keep going. And it's,
Yeah.
I didn't really like the way that it was kind of timed out and just the rhythm of it. So the way that the rhythm works is you start a chapter and you have to get to 100 Nox, which basically you get points by doing side quests and things like that. And it's basically because all of this stuff, if you do enough stuff, the way that the Grimwald Nox appear has to do with people's emotions and how people are feeling and what's going on in the world. So you have to raise that level to 100. So like you do a side quest and you get 30 points. You fight a bunch of enemies, you get like 4 or 5 points, and you have to keep doing this.
Do they like, does like the side missions like travel, like kind of like carry over? So does it like not matter then? So I guess my question is like, is there any uniqueness to the chapters, like with the side quests, or because they're just telling you to do this X many side quests and then you do a thing, like does it matter? Like to me, like what's the difference between chapter to chapter? That if all the are all the side quests open at the same time or not?
They open like as you go. So like every time you like get 3, there's like a couple where it's like go kill X monster that are kind of the duration of the game, but most of them are like, this is the side quest for this chapter.
Oh, okay, good.
Which so there's some connection there of being able to go like, okay, we're in the final chapter. These very much are like wrapping up side character stories. We're in the beginning. This is very much teaching you about the city and the things that are going on in the world. So it serves a purpose, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, all right, finish the chapter. All right, well, I got to do my 2 or 3 side quests, go kill some monsters. Oh, okay, now I can do the Grimwald Nox. And now we can start the story.
That's so weird though. I mean, did 8 didn't really have that. Like to me, E's stuff, when I'm thinking E's in general, it's like they're pretty straightforward. There's like really minor JRPG side quests. So did 8 have like an extensive side quest that justified kind of like going into 9?
8 had a couple. I think 8 had a couple of just spots where it was like, you need to do. We need like the I'm trying to remember. I think it's like the we need to kill time type situation where it's like, oh yeah, come back to me in a little bit, and he's like, oh well, you can go explore the island for an hour and then it'll trigger, or you can do a side quest and it'll trigger, like that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I think 8 had a few moments like that, but it definitely wasn't this constant rhythm of like side quest, Grimwald Nox main quest, side quest, and that's just kind of the sequence of the game. So it just kind of slowed it down. So it was kind of like, okay, like let's get what's going on. Like, oh, that's interesting. I like that. Okay, Oh, right. Okay, here we go.
The one question I really had is like the series is like there's like different. It's an action RPG series, but then like they always make some sort of monumental changes. So there's like 2 or 3 games that are all pretty similar. Then they make a monumental change to the systems. Is this like clearly growing from 8, or because I played a little bit of this game and it seemed like way more open than I like was used to like what I'd say an E's game is.
So what the combat is borderline identical.
Okay.
There's not much difference in combat engine. The big change is that the monstrums all have like superpowers.
Okay.
So like one of them can climb walls, one of them has wings to glide, one of them is super strong and can smash barriers down and things like that. So where the gameplay changes is more in the platforming. So it's much more like, oh, you can climb this wall and then glide over here. And that's how you find a lot of like the chests and hidden things, is much more like there's a chest over there. Oh, okay, if I climb that wall, I jump around this side and kind of glide over there, I can get there. So that's kind of the big gameplay change, is having that versus just your standard like hack and slash. Let's run through and see what we can do.
Interesting.
But yeah, the one plot thing that I did find was interesting. There's maybe 2 Adols.
What?
Is like the hook.
That actually is
like,
interesting.
So like in the prologue, you get thrown in jail, and then you break out of jail and get cursed. And then like, and again, light spoilers for like the first 3 hours.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you see, and Adol dyes his hair black because he broke out of prison. So that's his disguise, is that now he has black hair. So you play as black hair Adol for a while, and then all of a sudden you're back in prison as red hair Adol, and you're like, ooh, wait a minute, what's going on?
I'm not used to intrigue in an E's story. That's very
8 does. I will say this over and over again. 8 does.
Yeah,
8 is
that's true. It's
good.
I guess I didn't say anything at the beginning, but I've played a lot of the older ones. I played like 7, Oath of Valhalla, Origins, a few of the other ones as well. So I'm used to like the old portion of the series, and you've played all the newer ones.
Yeah, so a little bit different there, but again, not to kind of dwell on some negative things here, but you kind of mentioned it before, like, and again, eight is my reference point. Tropical island, like you're exploring mountains, forests, like big waterfalls, caves, all these things. Because this is so prison centric, you are constantly going back into this prison.
Oh,
Like 3 of the 4 chapters are you finding a different shortcut back into the prison. So you spend a whole lot of time in some brick wall, dark environments.
it's not like a cool prison.
No, and then the city itself is big and, like you said, more open. So there's a lot of place to explore, but it is just very much like if you were to describe medieval city.
Oh, sure.
So you are in medieval city going into medieval prison, and there's like maybe 3 fairly small outdoor environments that you can kind of go around in, because the game is very much just this one city. Part of your curse is that you cannot leave this city. So it's
That's a really good way to cut. You can see the gameplay, the development's decision that created that environment. What if
you could leave?
he doesn't leave the city?
And this is kind of, I think, if you listen to our 8 review, where I kind of came down with 8 too, is the fact of the matter is it's just fun. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, is the story great? It's average. Are the environments really cool to explore? They're fine, a little boring, but just sitting down and fighting in these things is so much fun. It's frantic, it's fast paced. There's good dodging. You dodge, you get slowdowns, kind of Bayonetta-esque. Each character has 4 different abilities that you can equip. By the end of the game, you've got maybe 8 or 10 for each character that you can kind of cycle through. You can cycle through all 3 characters. Each one plays different. So you've got, kind of your quick one, your AoE characters, your stronger, tank characters. So you kind of got all those things. You can kind of play with them. You can control them. They control themselves. The AI actually works halfway decent. So it's fun. The gameplay itself is really, really cool to do, and it's a great time. You get boosts, you get super moves, you get it checks all those boxes for fun gameplay. It's just some of the stuff around it just kind of slows it down.
Gotcha. You excited for East 10 then?
Oh, I'm pumped for East 10, yeah. Because it's fun. Again, it's like,
yeah, no, they're good. They're really, the combat's so good in these games.
That's the thing where it's just like, yeah, it's just the game. It's fine, but I'm having so much fun with it that it doesn't matter that it's just fine, because it is just fun. The characters are entertaining. It's just fun to play.
It's one of those things where, like, it's really simple combat and it's so tight though. And it's just like it's that one of those. It's really interesting just because you're thinking like Kingdom Hearts, these other games that like the really advanced combats. It's like no, this one just feels perfect.
You got one attack button, you got to dodge, you hold R1, and you can hit the button, one of the 4 face buttons to do your special. Done. That's it. Doesn't evolve, doesn't change, doesn't. No. That's it. It's simple, it's fun, it's tight. Learn your dodge patterns, get your guards, those types of things, and it's just it's fun. It's fun. Has its issues, but it's fun. It's definitely something that, like, if you like 8, you'll like this. Give it a try. They're so different from a lot of things out there. I think it's just something that you kind of got to try to really, I think, have a good understanding of if you're going to like it or not. We are Workforce Gaming. We try and put new videos up every Monday. Subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and we will see you later.
Bye.